There is a person in a room somewhere who goes quiet every single time your name gets mentioned, and not one single person around them has noticed why. That is the very first thing Spirit handed me when I opened this energy for you today, Virgo. Not a vague sense of someone liking you. Something far more specific and, honestly, far more intense than ordinary attraction. This person has built something private in their mind around you, a kind of quiet reverence that goes beyond simple crush territory into something closer to genuine admiration, and they have hidden it so well that you have absolutely no idea it exists. I want to walk you through exactly who this person is, what idolizing you actually means in this context, why they have kept it so completely hidden, what it costs them to be around you while concealing it, and what is beginning to shift now. Stay with me through this entire reading because there is real depth here, and I do not want to skip past any part of it. Let me describe what I felt the moment this energy opened, because the very first impression always tells me something important about the intensity we are working with. I felt a kind of held breath, the specific sensation of someone constantly managing themselves around you, careful never to let their actual feelings slip through in a way you might notice. This is not the casual, easy energy of mild interest. This is controlled, deliberate, the energy of someone who has decided, consciously or not, that what they feel toward you needs to remain entirely contained. I also felt awe present in this energy, genuine awe, the kind that exists when someone looks at another person and feels something closer to admiration than simple attraction. This distinction matters significantly, and I want to spend real time unpacking it throughout this reading, because idolizing someone is a deeper, more layered experience than simply finding someone attractive or interesting. I want to talk about what idolizing actually means in the context of this reading, because I think the word deserves careful, honest examination rather than being treated as simple hyperbole. When someone idolizes another person, they are not just attracted to surface qualities. They have constructed in their own mind a genuine sense of who you are that goes beyond casual observation. I am sensing this person has paid attention to things about you that most people walking through your life never notice. The way you handle pressure without losing your composure, the specific quality of your intelligence, how you process situations more thoroughly and more carefully than most people around you, the integrity you maintain even when no one is watching closely enough to notice or reward it. This person has noticed all of it, and rather than simply appreciating these qualities casually, they have come to genuinely admire you in a way that has shaped how they see what is possible in another human being. You have become, for them, something close to an example of qualities they themselves value deeply and perhaps wish they embodied more fully in their own life. I want to expand on this idea further because I think it deserves real attention rather than simply being stated and left there. There is a particular kind of admiration that develops when someone watches another person navigate life with a quality of integrity they themselves are still working to develop. This person sees in you something they aspire toward, not in a way that diminishes their own sense of self, but in a way that genuinely inspires them to want to grow, to become more consistent, more grounded, more authentically themselves. You have become, without ever intending to, a kind of quiet reference point for who they would like to be. I also want to address the specific nature of how this admiration developed over time rather than arriving all at once. I am sensing this was not love at first sight in the dramatic, instantaneous sense that sometimes gets portrayed. This built gradually through repeated observation, through small moments accumulating into a fuller picture. Each time they watched you handle something difficult with grace, each time they noticed you choosing integrity over convenience, the admiration deepened slightly until it became something significant enough that they could no longer dismiss it as simple casual appreciation. Let me speak to why this person has kept their feelings so completely hidden, because I think the reasons here are significant and deserve real attention. I am sensing genuine fear of being too obvious, of somehow cheapening what they feel by expressing it too casually or too soon. This is someone who takes their own feelings seriously, perhaps more seriously than is always comfortable, and the thought of you discovering their admiration before they feel ready to share it themselves produces real anxiety in them. There is a sense that what they feel is significant enough that it deserves a careful, considered reveal rather than an accidental slip that they cannot control. I am also sensing something about your own presence contributing to their hesitation. I am sensing you carry a quality of self-possession, a kind of completeness that does not obviously signal you are waiting for or seeking outside validation. This is admirable, genuinely, but it can also be intimidating to someone who is trying to work up the courage to express significant feeling toward you. They may worry, even without clear evidence, that you do not need or particularly want this kind of attention, which adds another layer of hesitation to their already careful approach. Does this feel like it is connecting to something you have been sensing, Virgo? Has there been someone whose energy toward you has felt slightly different, perhaps a little too careful, a little too controlled in a way you could not quite explain? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear what resonates with your own experience. I want to describe what it actually costs this person to maintain this level of concealment, because I think the internal experience here deserves real attention. I am sensing genuine exhaustion in their effort to appear casual around you. Every interaction requires a kind of internal management, a constant monitoring of their own expressions, their own tone, their own body language, to ensure nothing slips through that would reveal the depth of what they actually feel. This is not effortless for them. It requires real, ongoing energy, the kind that accumulates over time and leaves a person quietly depleted even when nothing dramatic appears to be happening on the surface. I am also sensing they experience a particular kind of loneliness specifically connected to this concealment. They cannot fully share this part of themselves with the people closest to them, either because they are embarrassed by the intensity of their own feelings, or because they worry that speaking it aloud to someone else would somehow make it more real, more vulnerable to the disappointment of unrequited feeling. This means they are carrying something significant entirely alone, without the relief that comes from having even one person who knows and understands what they are experiencing. I want to expand on this particular kind of loneliness further, because I think it carries real weight that deserves attention. There is a specific isolation that comes from caring deeply about someone while feeling unable to express it, even to your closest friends. This person may have attempted, more than once, to bring up their feelings with someone they trust, only to pull back at the last moment, worried about how it might sound spoken aloud, or worried that naming it explicitly to another person would make the eventual disappointment, if it comes, even more difficult to bear in front of a witness who already knows. I am also sensing this person has developed certain habits specifically designed to manage their feelings privately rather than sharing them. Perhaps writing things down that never get shared with anyone including you. Perhaps finding small, private ways to be near you or near information about you without ever revealing why this particular interest feels so significant to them. These private management strategies, while effective at maintaining secrecy, also reinforce the isolation because they keep the entire experience contained within this person's own internal world rather than allowing for any external support or perspective. I want to speak to specific moments where this person's hidden admiration has nearly become visible because I think these near slips reveal something important about the depth of what they are managing. I am sensing moments of staring slightly too long when they think you are not paying attention, catching themselves, and quickly looking away. Moments where your name comes up in a conversation and their response carries just a fraction too much enthusiasm or warmth before they consciously moderate their tone back to something more neutral. Moments where they have started to say something revealing only to redirect the sentence at the last second into something safer and more casual. These near slips are exhausting precisely because they require constant vigilance to catch and correct. I am sensing this person has become quite skilled at this management over time, which is part of why you genuinely have had no idea any of this exists. Their skill at concealment is not because their feelings are shallow. It is because they have had significant practice protecting something they consider precious from accidental exposure. Inhale with me for a moment, Virgo. I want to speak to what specifically about you has produced this level of genuine admiration because I think it deserves direct, specific examination rather than vague flattery. I am sensing this person is drawn to your consistency, the way you show up the same way, regardless of who is watching or what you might gain from a particular interaction. In a world where so much social behavior is performative, calibrated to produce specific impressions, your genuine consistency stands out to someone paying close enough attention to notice it. They have likely watched you in situations where most people would adjust their behavior for advantage and witnessed you maintaining the same integrity regardless. I am also sensing they are drawn to your depth, the sense that there is significantly more beneath your surface than what you typically reveal in casual interaction. This creates a kind of magnetic curiosity for someone who values substance over surface appeal, a sense that getting to genuinely know you would be discovering something rich and rewarding rather than encountering a person whose depths have already been fully explored after a few conversations. I want to add additional dimensions to what specifically draws this person to you because I think the fuller picture deserves attention here. I am sensing they are also drawn to your humor, the specific, often dry or understated quality of wit that you do not always display openly, but that surfaces in moments of genuine comfort or trust. This particular dimension of you, less polished and more authentic than your usual composed presentation, has likely become one of their favorite things to witness, precisely because it feels like a gift, something not everyone gets access to seeing. I am also sensing this person admires the way you treat people who cannot offer you anything in return, the genuine kindness you extend without calculation or strategic motive. This quality, observed perhaps in small interactions you may not even remember, has likely contributed significantly to their growing admiration because it reveals character in a way that more obvious, performed kindness never could. People who are only kind when it benefits them reveal themselves eventually. Your consistency in this area, even in moments with no audience or advantage, has made a genuine impression on this person that has only deepened over time. I want to address something about the quality of this person's character because I think it adds important context to this entire reading. This is not someone who idolizes carelessly or frequently. I am sensing this as someone with genuinely high standards, someone who does not extend this level of admiration easily or often. The fact that you have earned this level of regard from them says something significant, not just about their feelings, but about the genuine substance you carry that has produced such a deep response in someone who does not give this kind of attention lightly. I want to speak to what this person stands to risk by eventually revealing any of this, because I think understanding the stakes from their perspective adds important depth to this reading. For someone who has invested this much careful internal energy into protecting their feelings from exposure, the eventual reveal, whenever and however it happens, carries genuine vulnerability. They are not simply risking a casual rejection. They are risking the exposure of something they have treated as significant and precious, something they have protected carefully, precisely because it matters to them at a level that goes beyond ordinary attraction. I am sensing this person has likely imagined multiple possible outcomes of eventually revealing their feelings, some hopeful, some painful, and has spent real time mentally preparing themselves for whichever direction the actual outcome takes. This kind of mental rehearsal, while exhausting in its own way, also suggests genuine seriousness about what they feel rather than a passing, easily dismissed interest that would not warrant this level of internal preparation. Let me speak to what is beginning to shift now, because Spirit is showing me real movement building beneath the surface of all this careful concealment. I am sensing the effort required to maintain this level of management is becoming increasingly difficult to sustain. The accumulated weight of constant self-monitoring, of catching near slips, of carrying significant feeling entirely alone, is reaching a point where this person is beginning to wonder whether continuing this concealment is actually serving them or whether it has simply become its own kind of prison they have built around their genuine feelings. I want to describe what might happen as this concealment begins to loosen, because I think the practical unfolding matters here. For some of you, this is going to look like small changes you might notice before any direct expression occurs. Slightly longer eye contact that does not redirect away as quickly as it once did. Conversations that linger slightly longer than necessary, as though this person is reluctant to let the interaction end. Questions about your life that go deeper than casual small talk, revealing genuine curiosity about who you actually are rather than simple polite interest. For others, this shift might happen more directly through this person finally choosing to express something, whether through a conversation, a message, or simply a moment where their careful composure finally gives way to genuine, visible admiration that you can no longer fail to notice. I want to add a third possibility here as well, because Spirit is showing me this as relevant for some of you specifically. Some of you may discover this through a third party rather than directly from the person themselves. A mutual friend who has noticed something, who has perhaps been told in confidence about these feelings, and who decides with good intentions to give you a hint or even a direct revelation before this person feels fully ready to share it themselves. If this happens, I want you to approach the information gently, understanding that learning something this personal secondhand may not have been how this person hoped or planned for you to find out. Whatever channel this eventually travels through, I want you to trust that the underlying feeling described throughout this entire reading is genuine, consistent, and has been building steadily over real time rather than appearing suddenly or carelessly. I want to speak to something important about how you might receive this whenever it becomes visible to you, because I think your own response matters significantly here. This person has been carrying something genuine and significant entirely alone for what may be a considerable amount of time. I want you to receive whatever eventually becomes visible with the gentleness it deserves, recognizing the courage required for someone who has worked this hard at concealment to finally allow even a small piece of their genuine feeling to become visible to you. This does not mean you are obligated to reciprocate simply because their feelings are genuine and significant. You are allowed to determine your own feelings about this person independently, taking whatever time you need to understand what, if anything, you feel in return. But I do want to encourage you to receive their eventual vulnerability with kindness, understanding the weight of what it has cost them to carry this admiration in silence for as long as they have. I want to expand on this guidance further because I think the specifics of how you respond will matter significantly to this person, regardless of the ultimate outcome. Even if you do not share romantic feelings in return, the way you acknowledge their courage in finally expressing something this vulnerable will shape how they remember this entire experience. A response rooted in genuine kindness and respect, even within a gentle decline, if that is where your own feelings lead you, honors the significant risk they took in finally allowing you to see this part of them. I also want to address what it might mean if you discover, as this becomes visible, that you actually do share some interest in return. If that is the case, I want you to approach the unfolding of this connection with the same patience this person has shown in their careful, considered approach to you. Something built this thoughtfully, with this much genuine reflection behind it, deserves a foundation that honors that same level of care as it potentially develops into something openly shared between you. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with the complete picture Spirit shared today. Someone in your life genuinely idolizes you, has built a deep, considered admiration around who you actually are rather than simple surface attraction, and has kept this entirely hidden out of fear of being too obvious or too vulnerable too soon. The effort required to maintain this concealment has become increasingly difficult to sustain, and small signs of their genuine feeling are beginning to show through their careful composure. When this becomes more visible, whether through subtle shifts or eventual direct expression, receive it with the gentleness this person's courage deserves, while still honoring your own genuine feelings and your own timeline for whatever you decide to do with this knowledge. If this reading resonated with you today, please share it with a Virgo who might have someone secretly admiring them without realizing it. And let me know in the comments if someone specific came to mind while listening to this. I read every comment and I carry your stories with genuine care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo, you are seen more deeply than you realize, and someone has been quietly amazed by you this entire time.